In this video, I'm going to talk about why the Nintendo Switch is my personal favourite console of all time. It's been just over 3 years now since the Nintendo Switch was released, and in that time, Nintendo has proven once again why it's still a force to be reckoned with. After a turbulent time with the Wii U that saw both casual gamers and die-hard fans alike turn away from the company, Nintendo knew they had to go all out with their latest venture. The solution? Combining the handheld and home console divisions of the company to create one unified console, the Nintendo Switch. As a fan, this approach filled me with both excitement and trepidation. I had always leaned more towards the handheld side of things. My introduction to the world of gaming was through Pokemon after all, and I was quickly grasped by the wonder of having a whole world to explore in the palm of your hand. Whilst I certainly enjoyed the home console experience, it never seemed to grab me in quite the same way. I think much of this was to do with the sheer accessibility of being able to play a game whenever and wherever you please. It didn't matter if my family was using the TV or we were taking a long journey in the car, I could play on my terms. The split between handheld and home console always seemed detrimental to me anyway. Nintendo's greatest strengths lie in its ability to innovate, and focusing all their efforts on one system, I thought, would allow for a more balanced yet still creative product. At no time has this been more obvious than during the era of the Wii U and 3DS. The 3DS has a stunning library of games, and the Wii U itself certainly has some gems. There's a reason they keep getting ported to the Switch. Yet whilst the 3DS enjoyed a steady stream of hits, the Wii U was marred by some tremendous lows. The time gaps between releases were a problem that stuck with the Wii U from start to finish, but once the games finally did arrive, for every stunning hit like Mario Kart 8, we'd get a bare bones dud. Some of the ideas were truly brilliant, whilst others felt more gimmicky, awash with zany control schemes or lackluster gameplay. Take Star Fox Zero on the Wii U for example. A game I liked but would have enjoyed so much more had much of the gameplay not centred so heavily on switching your attention between two screens, as you contended with frustratingly stilted motion controls. Perhaps on one dedicated system these problems could be avoided, and I believe the Switch has done so for the most part. It shan't always be perfect, but since the launch of the Switch, Nintendo has been releasing a steady stream of hit games, bolstered by some superb third-party support. The games themselves feel as though they've had more time and effort poured into them, and things feel more accessible than ever. So what is it specifically I love so much about the Switch? The Switch is not the most powerful console out there, that's no secret, yet what it lacks in power it more than makes up for in its simplicity. Personally, I don't believe that games consoles functioning as multimedia devices is a bad thing. Before I got a smart TV, my PS4 was my primary way to access Netflix, YouTube and the like. However, unlike its predecessors, the Switch is stripped of most of that. The UI is simple, the menu's clean and easy to navigate, and the whole thing can be booted up and running a game within seconds. It's that ease of use that's so refreshing about the Switch. You're not bogged down by menus or notifications, and the use of cartridges for the games means they rarely need to download a lengthy update before you're ready to go. Conversely, this has proven to be an issue for many third-party games. However, they usually come with a warning, so at least you know what you're getting into. For the most part though, it's simply power on and play. It's in keeping with Nintendo's entire philosophy behind the design, something their marketing has been keen to indicate. This is a system that is designed to be played anywhere by anyone. The easier it is to do that, the better. The unfortunate side effect of all this is that the system does seem to have lost some of that trademark Nintendo charm. Despite having a menu dedicated to them, themes are reduced to a mere dark or light option, the inventive days of the 3DS seemingly forgotten in the past. Similarly, the charming menu music that would accompany the home screen or eShop is notable in its absence. There are certainly improvements to be made, elements that when added would afford the Switch that uniquely Nintendo feel, but until that happens the Switch remains an impressive piece of hardware nonetheless, capable of running some of the most breathtaking and innovative software to come from Nintendo in a while. Let's be honest, I should say that's why most of us have a special place in our hearts for Nintendo in the first place, the games it creates. The Nintendo Switch boasts a staggeringly diverse and astounding library of games. Since day one, with the release of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Nintendo has been knocking it out of the park with their first-party releases, reinventing many of their biggest franchises. That first year was packed with brilliant titles to ensure the Switch was a hit, and whilst the output from Nintendo has slowed a bit since then, many of the games released since have similarly entered into the pantheon of Nintendo's greatest hits. Nowhere is this more evident than in Breath of the Wild. First slated to release exclusively on the Wii U, this masterpiece of game design suffered multiple delays, but the result was a fresh perspective on the franchise, bringing it to the forefront of the open world genre. Never has an open world game gripped me like this one. The way the game seamlessly blends its physics engine with Zelda's puzzle-solving roots has inspired people to get creative with the game in ways that have never been possible before. When you can sit in awe at a 10-minute montage of people doing all sorts of crazy things, from catapulting themselves all the way to the final boss within 15 minutes of starting the game, to taking down said boss with only the bare essentials provided to you as you begin, and then still find plenty to gaze at in wonderment, that's when you know you're playing something special. That's just one game though. There are so many more worthy of your time. My personal Switch collection sits at over 100 games strong, partly because I have no self-control when it comes to these things, but mostly because there are just that many great games on the system. Want a vibrant set of worlds with masterful platforming action? Check out Super Mario Odyssey. Want to challenge yourself to make tactful combat decisions and lead an army of lovable misfits to victory? Take a gander at Fire Emblem Three Houses. Want to spend your days relaxing on an island with a quirky cast of oddball creatures, not a care in the world? Try Animal Crossing New Horizons. The variety on offer is just stunning, and no matter what type of game you are, you'll find something to enjoy. It's not just the first party offerings either. Nintendo Switch just might boast the best offering of indie titles away from the PC. I've sunk so many more hours into games such as Stardew Valley by sheer virtue of the fact that I can play them whilst laying in bed. The early days of Switch were reported to be something of a goldmine for many indie developers before the storefront got too cluttered and we started seeing upwards of 30 releases a week. People were craving experiences both new and old for their shiny new device. Games from years past such as World of Goo have found new life on the system, whilst new releases like SteamWorld Dig 2 saw its Switch sales far outstrip its counterparts. These titles have become so important to the system that Nintendo has even taken to highlighting them in their trademark direct presentations. It's no wonder either. It's with indie titles you often see the most experimentation, whether they're coming up with completely new concepts or playing with existing gameplay conventions to create something truly unique. Indies have everything to play for and can offer some of the most fulfilling experiences in gaming today, and the Switch is absolutely jam-packed with them. The Switch has also seen the best third-party support of a Nintendo system for quite some time. Quite possibly the best of this is a collaboration between Nintendo and Ubisoft with Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. When first leaked, this title saw no end of skepticism. Did anyone really want to team up between Mario and gaming's equivalent to the Minions? Was an RPG like this ever going to work? No, and yes, as it turns out. The Rabbids each ended up having some rather colourful personalities in the game, which helped bring them in line with Nintendo's charming cast of characters, and the gameplay was simply oodles of fun. Surprises such as that don't often happen, but if this was an indication of what third parties can bring to Switch, then the outlook was bright. We've had a few similar team-ups since then, Star Fox appearing in Starlink Battle for Atlas, Cadence of Hyrule, and a myriad of cosmetic Easter eggs, however nothing quite to the scale of Kingdom Battle. Hopefully we'll see something similar again soon, but that's not to say we still aren't getting some brilliant third-party experiences on Switch. Some personal favourites include Sonic Mania, Dragon Quest XI, and Rayman Legends, but there are so many more to play. So, if it wasn't clear from all that, the Nintendo Switch has games. No matter who you are or how you like to play, you'll find something to suit you. The Switch keeps going from strength to strength, and I've enjoyed every moment I've spent playing it. The system brought back my passion for gaming, and has provided me with endless hours of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing just where it goes from here, but regardless, I will always view it as Nintendo at the top of their game. The Nintendo Switch is my favourite console ever. So, if you'll excuse me, I'd best start playing through that backlog. Thanks for watching.